Hi, my name is Dylan, and these are my team members. We'll be exploring how affirmative action has evolved and what it looks like today in Sarawak, the largest state in Malaysia. Our goal is to raise awareness about Sarawak's upcoming tertiary education policies by helping students understand their history, impact, and the different perspectives surrounding them.
Education plays a vital role in shaping our future, but not everyone begins from the same place. People are born into different situations: poverty, inequality, distance from opportunity. So, how do we help those who are left behind? One way is through affirmative action, and it's exactly what Malaysia did with their new economic policy in 1969. But before that,
What is affirmative action?
According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, affirmative action is an attempt, most often through policy or program, to help groups that have suffered long-standing social or economic disadvantage.
in Malaysia, affirmative action has always benefited the Bumiputra. But who exactly are the Bumiputra?
Bumiputra are the sons of soil, meaning Malays of the Malay Peninsula and natives of Sabah and Sarawak, to whom the policy under Article 153 of the Constitution applies. Any such policy must be protected in giving rights to Bumiputra with regards to education, employment, opportunities, and more.
However, how this is on the ground has changed over the decades.
After the 1969 racial riots, Malaysia launched a new economic policy known as the NEP to address economic imbalances among ethnic groups. In education, one of its outcomes was the Malaysian Matriculation Program, a fast-track alternative to STPM introduced in 2005. It offered a more accessible route into public universities, but with an alleged 90 to 10 ratio admissions quota, meaning 90% of seats for Bumiputra and only 10 for others.
Supporters of the quota argue that it is essential for fairness. According to NUTP General Fauzi Singan, the quota system ensures that excellent students are not disadvantaged, and that it is managed through a computerized merit-based system. He emphasizes the importance of supporting rural Bumiputra students with better access to educational opportunities. But others argue that certain minorities of rural students still lack a level playing field.
In Sarawak, even with quotas, rural students, many who are not Bumiputra, face different barriers. Senator 𝙗𝙝𝙧𝙚𝙘𝙠𝙨 highlights a crucial issue. In cities and big towns, almost all students have set for 10 SPM subjects, as their schools have teachers for all the subjects. But in rural Sarawak, many students only take 7. While Sarawakian schools follow the same curriculum as those on the West Peninsula, limited teachers and resources available to students hold back development. These issues have fueled calls for a localized, more context-aware education policy over a race-based one that reflects Sarawak's reality, instead of applying blanket national criteria.
Policy of standardization was implemented by the Sri Lankan government in 1971 to curtail the number of Tamil students selected for certain facilities in universities. In 1972, the government added a district quota as a parameter within each language. Article 153 of the Malaysian Constitution shares Sri Lanka's standardization policy of ethnic-based entry advantages for the majority group, leading to resentment and driving some minorities abroad for education.
In response, the Sarawak government introduced a free tertiary education for Sarawakians (FCES) scheme set to begin in 2026. Under FCES, tuition will be fully funded for eligible students at state-owned universities such as Swinburne, Curtin, UTS, and ICAS. It covers key degrees in STEM, law, medicine, accounting, and finance, fields critical to Sarawak's development. Students from households with 1.5k ringgit per capita income or less receive an annual 15k ringgit stipend to support food and accommodation.
The FTES scheme, unlike the matriculation program, doesn't use a racial quota system. Instead, it focuses on household income and alignment with workforce needs. This approach mirrors what some policy analysts have long suggested. In 2018, human rights lawyer Andrew Koo said, "There are significant socio-economic disparities within each of the three communities. Broad racial policies are ineffective. Limited resources should be directed to those with genuine need." This needs-based shift offers a fresh model, especially for diverse states like Sarawak, where both Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra may be underserved in different ways.
Building on the earlier explanation of FTES, a useful comparison can be drawn to Brazil's PRONI program, launched in 2004, which provides full and partial scholarships to low-income students, primarily from public schools, based on their ENEM test scores. It has benefited over 1.5 million students, improving academic outcomes and employment opportunities, though challenges such as weak school preparation and racial disparities persist. Similarly, Sarawak's FTES, set to launch in 2026, shares PRONI's mission of expanding access to higher education, offering full tuition coverage alongside a stipend to support students from low-income families.
Prominent figures such as former Law Minister 𝙏𝙝𝙧𝙚𝙦 have decided Sarawak's policy as a brave model for other states to emulate.
However, some analysts caution that a purely meritocratal system may inadvertently disadvantage students from rural and remote areas who lack access to quality educational resources. The overall attitude towards Sarawak's free tertiary education scheme is largely positive. Since the policy is still new, most commentary takes a prospective tone, with only a few voices raising caution about its implementation. As the scheme develops, a broader range of perspectives is likely to emerge. To ensure the policy achieves its intended goals without creating unintended disparities or exclusions, fostering a more inclusive dialogue that involves all affected communities will be essential.
Our survey of 112 respondents comprising of higher secondary students from both public and private schools in Kuching, university graduates and the general public revealed mixed awareness and opinions about the matriculation program and the new Sarawak FTES scheme. Nearly half of the respondents were unaware of the issue or policy changes, which is why we created this video. When asked which group benefited most from the matriculation program, 53.6% identified Peninsular Bumiputra students, followed by rural Bumiputra students. No one selected non-Bumiputra as their main beneficiaries. While some respondents valued the program's role in helping less fortunate students and stimulating the economy, many criticized its perceived racial bias, arguing that aid should be distributed based on need rather than ethnicity. In contrast, 80.4% of Sarawakian respondents believe FTAS would benefit local students. Many praised its potential to remove financial barriers, improve access to higher education for B40 and rural communities, and create a more skilled workforce. Some noted that it addressed the inequalities of the matriculation system by supporting Sarawakians of all races. However, concerns remain about ensuring fair, transparent implementation and maintaining education quality.
In your opinion, was the federal matriculation system 1969 new education policy fair to students from Sarawak? Well, my answer, I kind of would say no, because most of the matriculation colleges were made in the Peninsular Malaysia. So it will be harder for those people from Sarawak to like kind of have the ability or willingness to move there to access that. The matriculation was also mainly in Malay, which could be disadvantageous for other Sarawakian students who don't really know Malay or don't fully understand it and are well more versed in like local languages. Malay, sorry, were also often prioritized rather than Sarawakians in acceptance. So I think it was like pretty unfair for students from Sarawak.
Sarawak's free tertiary education scheme marks a bold step forward, shifting from race-based quotas to real needs-based support. If carried out well, it can break down barriers, uplift rural and low-income students, and set a model for the rest of Malaysia.